Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just a bunch of different DC news, mainly the DC Studios stuff. So as you would think, following the takeover of DC Films, or I guess now DC Studios, by James Gunn and his partner in crime, Peter Safran, there are going to be a lot of updates from the DC side of things, whether it is the movies or the TV shows. I guess they're all the same thing, but I guess they're separate at the same time. And all the stuff in this video is quite interesting, enticing, brain tingling, brain igniting, all that good stuff. You know, whichever way you want to put it, but let's get into it. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below about all this different stuff, because it's a bit varied. So the first thing to talk about in this video is that Grant Gustin rumor that has been circulating, and apparently the source has given it to not just one person, but a handful of people around the social media game. But the spread of this information that, from this source that has gotten the most traction and attention since this, apparently has been spread is that of John Campea. Now, I'm not going to lie, I don't really know John Campea that much or have really watched anything of his. I really only know him from that Spider-Man No Way Home leak stuff from whenever that was, which did turn out to be real. So I can't really comment too much on his credibility, but this is what he had to say about all of this stuff. Could we, by the end of the Flash movie, literally see a new performer in the role of Barry Allen, aka The Flash? I've never thought so, but I'm going to let you guys in on something, and this is something that, for the record, I do not buy into, alright? But I'm going to let you guys know about this just because it's fun for the topic of conversation. I've had a little bird told me, and I'm sure this little bird is also telling a few other people, so you're probably going to see this pop up over the next day or two around some other places as well, that, just a short version, Grant Gustin, who plays the Flash in the television series, The Flash, is going to be the new Flash of the DC Universe. So this is an interesting thing. This has been something that's been talked about for a while, especially since all this stuff with Ezra Miller happened, off camera and just in Ezra's own personal life and all that stuff. Now, if James Gunn was not at the helm now, I think this would be a strong possibility. But with James Gunn there now in the role of leading DC Studios and really having the ability to reboot most of the stuff, I guess conveniently just not the stuff he was involved with prior to taking over, I really do see him just having his own Barry Allen, who he thinks is the best role for the Flash. Hell, it might not even be Barry Allen, it might be Wally West. Though here is the really big question. Who knows if they even get rid of Ezra? They might not fire Ezra. They might keep Ezra Miller around as the Flash. People do keep forgetting that James Gunn went through a lot of drama and got through the other side in a much better situation than from where he was. So maybe he'll show some sympathy to Ezra. Of course, it is up to the individual like myself, yourself, your friend or whatever it is, to decide whether Ezra would deserve said sympathy. But I think this whole situation is a wait and see. Because I don't think they're going to say anything until the movie is out, which is out in the middle of June, and they probably won't say anything until it's probably towards the end of its box office run. They're not going to say, oh, by the way, this guy's not the Flash anymore, so yeah, enjoy this throwaway movie. They're not going to say that. They're going to try and keep you entangled, if you want to call it. This could be moving into something else. So I don't think they're going to make a decision until maybe like a month after this movie is out, if not even a bit later than that. But speaking of James Gunn, a bunch of stuff associated with him makes up the rest of this video. So firstly, IGN posted an article where it gathered its readers' thoughts on the characters they think James Gunn should bring into the DC live action universe next, with them compiling a top 10 list, as they usually do, with James Gunn replying to on Instagram, as you can see here on the stories part of it, with, will 5 of the 10 do? So as you can see, the top 10 list consists of Nightwing, Martian Manhunter, Lobo, Brainiac, Deathstroke, Jason Todd, Zatanna, The Court of Owls, Mr. Freeze, and finally, John Constantine, or Constantine, depending on how you say it. And that's a solid top 10, but what 5 of these 10 will James Gunn be looking at for the near future in his DC live action world? Well, I think some certainties are Martian Manhunter, Lobo, John Constantine, Zatanna, and I think Brainiac as the last one. I think James Gunn wants to build out the Justice League dark side of the DC universe, and honestly, it would not shock me at all if Constantine appears in that Swamp Thing movie, with also that Zatanna movie still in the works as well, which can maybe just be shifted over to James Gunn's new vision, because we don't know, say if that movie was meant to have Ben Affleck's Batman show up. It's probably very self-contained, so it can just be slotted over into whatever James Gunn is working on. And then Martian Manhunter is a pretty easy slot in as well, because it's got a cool possibility for even an HBO Max detective type like mini series, I think, which would be pretty cool. And Lobo and Brainiac, they slot into the Superman side of things, with both of those characters already being teased by James Gunn himself on social media. Though most of the remaining characters that are there, like Nightwing and Deathstrokes and stuff like that, I'm sure James Gunn has plans to use them. It's just, not in the next, opening stanza of his, take on the DC films. And next up, we did get some new information on James Gunn's take on Superman, of course, in this new Superman Legacy film, and this is coming via /film. But firstly, we had this from Peter Safran. It's not an origin story. It focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. Superman represents truth, justice, and the American way. He is kindness in a world that thinks of kindness as old-fashioned. And then we had James Gunn continuing by saying this. We want to take it away from good guy versus bad guy. There are almost saintly people in the DC universe. Superman is among them. There are really terrible villains like Gorilla Grodd or Joker, and then there's everybody in between. So there are all these, shades of grey of these different character types, which allow us to tell more complex stories. I really love the idea of Superman. He's a big old galoot. He's a farm boy from Kansas who's very idealistic. His greatest weakness is that he'll never kill anybody. He doesn't want to hurt a living soul. I like that sort of innate goodness about Superman. It's his defining characteristic. He's not All-Star Superman, but then again, I'm a huge fan of All-Star Superman, and I'm very inspired by that series. So this is the big thing. A lot of people think that James Gunn isn't the right guy to write Superman, but that's the thing. That's the thing I love about it. He doesn't come across as like this guy that you go, oh, Superman writer, he could write it easily. He's the perfect person to handle this. Whether he directs is another question. I have a feeling he is going to direct it, but it's just being held off until he gets his schedule in order. But on the writing side of things, I'm excited to see what he does, because you're used to James Gunn taking these smaller characters that no one really knows about, let alone cares about, like the Guardians of the Galaxy, your Peacemaker, and some of these other characters associated with that. Sure, he handled a bigger property like the Suicide Squad, but he used a lot of unknown characters, like what Harley Quinn was the only big one he used, and he did a pretty good job with that as well. So I'm excited to see what he does with Superman, because I think people aren't expecting him to do a good job. And that's what excites me, because it's also a step in the uncharted for him by handling a big character like this. So yeah, I'm on board. Now, it doesn't mean I think it's going to be like, I'm saying, oh, I'll put $100 saying it's going to be amazing, but I'm definitely excited to see what he does with it. And to finish up the video, James Gunn also revealed in the replies to people on Twitter, as per usual, that Peacemaker Season 2 is still happening, with it just being delayed due to Superman Legacy and Waller. Now, Peacemaker Season 2 will come after that, which I guess makes sense, but of course we don't have a time frame, because we also don't have a time frame for when exactly Waller will be out. We know Superman Legacy is coming out in 2025, but of course we don't know where things place around that. Also, John Cena has a few things locked up, so, into like his near future as well. So all of that lines up to Peacemaker just, taking a back seat. There's no rush to jump into it now. It's still going to happen. Now, the thing with this is that James Gunn, when it was initially renewed for Season 2, said that he'd be writing and directing all the episodes for Peacemaker Season 2. Now, whether that still happens is another question, because he's got, this Superman Legacy stuff, this Waller stuff, and just, handling the DC live action universe as a whole. So I don't know if that is still the case. Maybe he'll just write all of the episodes, or maybe he might, direct the premiere, or maybe the finale and a couple of episodes in between, or he might just do the writing, no directing at all. It's a wait and see. Depends what's on his schedule and how hectic things are. Now, one thing I am curious about is how Peacemaker Season 2 will be handled, because I'm wondering, are elements of what was going to be in that second season, because you got to remember, this was renewed before James Gunn was, like, before they were even really looking for a new head of DC. Like, Walter Hamada was still going to be going, into the future. So I'm wondering if elements of that Peacemaker Season 2 story are going into that Amanda Waller story, because Team Peacemaker is going to be in that show. All those people that were around Peacemaker in Season 1 are going to be in that Amanda Waller show. So I'm wondering, are elements of their characters, even some stuff that was going to happen in Peacemaker Season 2, going to be in that show? Or was Waller always going to happen in the way that it's going, so Peacemaker Season 2 isn't impacted story-wise at all? I'm sure we will learn soon enough when that Waller, or that Amanda Waller ball, if you want to put it, starts rolling along in production, eventually airs for our eyeballs to see and enjoy. But yeah, it's unsure at the moment, just because when that was renewed, the landscape of DC was just different. So who knows how it's all going to play out. But yeah, I love Peacemaker season 1. Can't wait to see what they do with season 2 and just what James Gunn just, got up his sleeve. I'm excited to see what he has there. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like and show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts and all the stuff we went over in this video. Always curious to hear what you guys are saying. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.